Hi, check out what I found in the dumpster. It's a safe, and I'm using the word quote marks because I've done quite a few videos on safes, how to crack into cheap safes 5 different ways. I've done videos doing teardowns and explanations of safe locks and things like that. And this is one of these cheap ass hardware store safes. It's not a proper brand name. It's not a real safe, but what it is it's actually a fire rated safe. And if we have a look at the door here, you'll see that it's actually ETL Intertech rated for 1 hour fire resistance. So it's useless as an actual safe. Do not buy a hardware store safe. Check out my videos why. It looks very impressive. Look at all these bolts. Oh, how could anyone possibly get into this thing? Look at this. Oh, right, look how thick this door is. No way anyone's getting into this safe. Well, no, it's trivial to get into a safe like this. Anyway, I won't go into any details. Watch my other videos for that. And yeah, it's got a couple of shells in here, and it's got a little dicky tray. Has it even got a bolt down hole? Oh my goodness, it does actually have one bolt down hole. It's got no bolt holes on the back at all. Of course, any safe is useless unless you actually bolt it down to a concrete floor or whatever. Anyway, this is an absolute piece of garbage as a safe because, well, I can pick it up. And any safe that you can pick up is not a real safe. So, anyway, state-of-the-art electronic keypad. And it all lights up and comes up on the keypad, asks me to enter a digit. The reset didn't seem to do anything, but I don't know offhand what the particular reset thing for this is. Anyway, so I thought, somebody's just doesn't need it anymore. They moved out of the office, but if we, whoa, the alarm's gone off. Oh God, that'll go off in a second. Really? It's got a sensor in there? I doubt it. I think that was just because the thing is open. There we go. Oh, jeez, it's off. Anyway, pain in the ass. But have a look in here. I'm going to have to get the torch for this. So check this out. This is what I was presented with when I opened this thing up. Yeah. So these are all brass shavings. Somebody's had fun.
Holy Toledo! Somebody had fun.
Somebody has drilled this lock open, and if you've seen my previous videos on these cheap safes, these are trivial to pick. So some loser who couldn't pick the lock has decided to drill this thing out. So yeah, these safes with these cheap key overrides, they're absolutely garbage. Anyway, pretty trivial to pick or get into these safes any other way. But yeah, they've completely destroyed the override lock on it. Normally you get into these things via the keypad, but that override lock is definitely Kamagutsa. That is terrible, Muriel. So anyway, I thought we'd have a look inside the door. Yeah, there we go. It's just a movement bloody thing. I think it's got a sensor switch on the side. Oh, shut the hell up. There we go. Bloody hell. Anyway, let's get inside this door. Look at these little pissant pins. Look at that. Oh, it's awful. Unbelievable. Don't buy cheap hardware store safes. There's the ETL certification, and I have no doubt that this is an okay fire rated safe. So if you just want to protect documents and stuff from fire, then this is probably going to do a reasonable job. But that's all it's good for. Using my new bench here. Still haven't screwed it down or anything, but yeah, let's go. Yes, a real safe is one that A, you can't pick up, and B, is a top brand name. So in Australia, that would be CMI, Gardall, Chubb, all the usual big brand names that actually make real safes. As a rule, if you buy it from the hardware store, it is crap. You may as well not even bother, except as a decoy safe. Okay, because I don't know the code and the reset doesn't seem to be working, I haven't got the instructions for this thing, and I don't know the default code, and I can't pick the lock, I'm just going to have a go. I've got my permanent magnet in a sock here, got my neodymium magnet, and we'll see if we can open this thing with the magnet. Get the solenoid. Looks like it's resistant to magnetic attack. All right, well, let's see if we can do a bump attack. Yep, got it. There we go. We're in. Bump attack. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. And because a single person can actually lift this safe, because it's not a real safe, then that bump attack is actually real. So there you go. We're in like Flynn. Okay, we can check it out now. Oh, there's the concrete fill hole, so it's got a little bit of concrete on the front, but yeah, trivial to drill through. This is not what's called a TDR safe, or a torch or drill resistant safe, which means that it'll have like little particles inside the door and the outside shell of the safe that actually deadens and blunts, you know, even like diamond drill bits and stuff like that. And it's TDR, torch resistant, means oxyacetylene torches, and this ain't it. Yeah, you're paying thousands and thousands of dollars for a proper TDR safe. I don't even think that's concrete. That's more some sort of fire resistant type material. So we've got battery, and then the green is the reset switch, and then we've got the sounder, and then we've got the solenoid, and then we've got the there's a photo sensor on the side over there. So what makes this an embarrassing safe design? Well, you're talking plastic absolutely everywhere. Even the main gear here for the bolts is plastic. Unbelievable. But it is better than that cheap safe that we looked at in the previous video. It's a little bit better than that, but basically, to get into this thing, here is your key override on the front, okay? So that's the key override. So the only thing that stops this thing opening is this little bar here, which then, like, you just move that down and boom, we can open this up. And this is actually a bit neat. At least they've got like a spring-loaded lock thing. So when the doors open, the bolts are held retracted, physically held retracted like this. And then when you close the door like this, get my fingers out of the way, boom, it springs open like that. But this is all plastic, okay? This is just, oh, it's just insane. Anyway, that's just a nicety touch that it feels like it's spring-loaded, so the customer thinks, oh, it must have some advanced mechanism in it. No. Anyway, there's our solenoid there, and there's a tiny amount of force on that. I'm not putting much force on that. It really does, there's not much weight behind that solenoid there, and the solenoid is driven by the PCB here, but that doesn't require much force, and that's why, and it's spring-loaded, that's why we were able to do that bump attack. Just bump it on the ground hard enough, and this little spring goes boing, and then you're able to turn the handle at the same time. It's exactly the same as doing the key override here. So not to mention that the actual keys in these are dead easy to pick. They're just like absolutely hopeless. So yeah, it's just ridiculous. And of course you could just drill out the lock. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. They have at least gone to the effort here to actually put in a plate over here so that if you break the keypad off the front panel, you can't necessarily get in there with a coat hanger and then get into the mechanism which we saw which is one of the methods we use to open that really cheap hardware store safe. And they've got a full cover over the solenoid as well. So and they've like taken a modicum of precaution, but this is still a garbage safe. Do not buy them, do not use them as a safe. I'm not even sure how good this thing's going to be in terms of fire resistance. It's just a Neville Nobody brand, and you've got no like real assurance. Yeah, okay, it's ETL certified. I don't know, is that a fake label? Who did it? Doesn't even have a bloody model number on the thing, let alone a manufacturer. But there's a couple of manufacturers out there who just rebadge these things under a ton of different brands. But like, you know, Century Safes here in Australia, you get from Bunnings hardware store, absolute garbage. But yeah, this is just plastic filled with some, it's probably not concrete, it's like a fire retardant material. So yeah, it might do an okay job, like a fire resistance for documents, maybe, but yeah, no, it's not a real safe. But anyway, I was able to get into that real easy just by a bump attack. Unfortunately, I couldn't get through the magnetic attack, and probably because the doors, you know, it's reasonably thick. What is it, 50 millimeters thick or something? But the whole idea, well, it could pinch here, but yeah, the whole idea is that you can get a magnet on the solenoid, and you can, by swiping it across the front, you can actually affect the magnetic field of the solenoid, and it's just like being activated from the circuitry here. Yeah, it didn't work in this case, but a lot of safes, a lot of real cheap ass ones, you can actually open that way, just with a magnet, if you know exactly where to put it. And it's almost comical. I mean, it's just bolted into the plastic here and then into the material like this, and the dog bar over here, it's just bolted in the same way. Oh my God, you can just pry this thing open. You can get it open in 2 seconds with a grinder. It's just, no. So anyway, let's remove this lock, shall we? There it is. I got no idea what brand that is, but someone has drilled that sucker out. Look at that. Straight through there. Whoa, straight through the pins. Unbelievable. Like, they couldn't be bothered to pick this thing or open it some other way. They could have just picked it up and dropped it. So yeah, could actually reuse this as just a fire-rated safe and not have any security on it at all. So if we want to do that, we would reinstall this back into here just so that there's no like hole that a fire can get through. You would just take out the solenoid, because the way it locks is that the solenoid pin here has to be activated like that. Oh, even that's dodgy as. I had to physically manipulate that to get that thing over. So that's the only thing that's stopping it from coming open. So, and it's got the spring-loaded mechanism, so you'd leave all that in there. So yeah, just take out the solenoid and that'll just open all the time with the handle, and just use it as a no security fire safe. So we'll just unscrew that, get it out. So yeah, there's our solenoid, and oh, just feather touch on there. That's why that bump attack works. It doesn't require any force at all. Maybe you can see the tiny little spring. Tiny little, almost 0 force spring in there, just enough to lift the weight of it back up. That's why bump attacks work. Unbelievable. At least they fully enclosed it. And it looks like what was triggering the alarm on this thing, it's got, looks like a photo diode there, which it just detects the ambient light. So yeah, I reckon that's what's going on there. That's the reset switch on the back, and if you can get access to that, you can just reset it to the default code. But a lot of people just leave their safes when they buy them, they just leave them to the default code, which you can download from the user manual on the web. Unbelievable. So there you go, there's a Dodgy Brothers dumpster, no-name Neville Nobody safe, which may or may not be fire resistant. Do you trust it? I don't know. Maybe I could use it to store my backup hard drives or something. It's a bit big for that. I've got my backup hard drives in 2 different locations anyway, but yeah, there you go. It does shut. So, you know, the seals are designed to expand when they get hot and stuff. Maybe not in this one, but a proper fire-rated safe it would be. But, yeah, I don't know. Should it go back to the dumpster? But anyway, technically it's still usable as that. Hope you like that dumpster find. Catch you next time.